بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن اهتدى بهديه واقتدى بسنته إلى يوم الدين، وبعد. فقد قال جل وعلا في كتابه المجيد وفرقانه الحميد: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم، بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ولقد أرسلنا رسلا من قبلك وجعلنا لهم أزواجا وذرية وما كان لرسول أن يأتي بآية إلا بإذن الله لكل أجل كتاب. وقال النبي صلى الله تعالى عليه وسلم: إن أعظم النكاح بركة أيسره مؤونة، أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. Honorable scholars, respected brothers, elders, mothers and sisters, something for us to introspect over, गौर करने की बात. When Allah Ta'ala created Adam alayhi salatu wassalam and Allah placed him in Jannah, which is the pinnacle of glory, the height of excitement, the point of jubilation. Jannah is وَلَكُمْ فِيهَا مَا تَشْتَهِي أَنفُسُكُمْ وَلَكُمْ فِيهَا مَا تَدَّعُونَ. Paradise promises to satisfy every desire of every person. Allah Ta'ala refers to hell as جَزَاؤُكُمْ جَزَاءً مَوْفُورًا. Hell is the only place that will punish a criminal adequately. And paradise is the only place that will reward a pious person fully. In this world, mujrim jitna ho, दुनिया में उसकी पूरी सजा हो ही नहीं सकती. कहते ना कि उसने 10 आदमियों को कत्ल किया, उसको 10 सजा मिली है, लेकिन जिंदगी एक ही है. Person killed 10 people, he's got 10 life sentences, but he's got only one life. I can't have 9 lives, they say. When Sa'id ibn Jubair rahmatullah alayhi was assassinated by Hajjaj ibn Yusuf, and then someone seen Hajjaj ibn Yusuf in a dream, and he asked him, Ma fa'ala Allahu bik? Hajjaj, what happened to you when you died? He said, قتلني بكل قتيل قتلته قتلة. قتلني بكل قتيل قتلته قتلة وقتلني بسعيد بن جبير 70 قتلة. In lieu of every unjust killing I perpetrated, हर नाहक खून जो मैंने मारा, हर एक के बदले में अल्लाह ने मुझे मौत को एक मर्तबा चखाया. मौत हुई जिंदा, मौत हुई जिंदा. Allah made me taste death, life, taste. And for killing Sa'id ibn Jubair, Allah made me taste the agony of death 70 times. He was a great friend of Allah. So, hell is the only place that can fully punish a criminal. And paradise is the only place that can fully satisfy and reward a noble person for his good deeds. The world doesn't possess the capacity, doesn't have the resources, doesn't have what it takes to completely reward a person. For example, somebody is at your house and you want to entertain him, and you want to go the extra mile, and you want to give him a lavish spread, and you want to give him a scrumptious meal, but then you've got to worry about his health also. MashaAllah, you can lay it out for him, that's good. But if you don't go slow, this man's going to have heartburn, and this man's going to get sick, and he won't sleep well. So you are restricted by the norms of health. You are controlled and regulated by his interest. As much as you want to feed him the best, in his interest you've got to restrict it, otherwise he won't go there. That is the nature of life. So Jannah promises to satisfy every need of every person. Adam alayhi salatu wasalam was in Jannah. Subhanallah. That's the greatest place. That's where every one of us desires. But to add to the joy of Adam, to add to the happiness of Adam alayhi salam, he was a single human. Allah didn't give him parents to complement his happiness. Allah gave him a wife. To complete, to conclude, to culminate, to complement that happiness, आदम की खुशी के लिए अल्लाह ने माँ बाप नहीं दिए जन्नत में. कहने बाप अकेले क्या करेंगे, माँ बाप होंगे तो कम से कम जरा. अल्लाह ने बीवी दिया, अल्लाह ने छोरा दिया. Allah gave him a partner. So if Jannah cannot be fully enjoyed without a partner which promises to be the land of happiness, then how can a man enjoy this world without a partner? Nikah is an integral component and a sacred institution of our religion. Nikah is an integral component and it is a sacred institution. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu anhu said, لو لم يبق من أجلي إلا ثلاثة أيام ولي طول على النكاح لتزوجت كراهية أن ألقى الله عز وجل عزبا. If I only have 3 days left and I know I'm going to die in 3 days, بالفرض والتقدير अगर मुझे ये बात बतला दी गई 3 दिन के बाद आप मरेंगे, in 3 days will be my death, and I'm unmarried, consciously cognizant of the fact that I will be dying in 3 days, I will hasten to get married within that 3 days because I don't want to meet my Allah unmarried. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu anhu, I don't want to die unmarried. I want to be married and I want to pass on. من دعاك إلى غير الزواج دعاك إلى غير الإسلام. Imam Malik rahmatullah alayh. Somebody tells you prolong, don't get married. Today is, you know what? Why must you go on a contract when you get pay as you go? That's the terminologies. Sheikh, why do you get contracted? You don't have to be contracted. We've got a lot of mobile networks. Pay as you go. Enjoy the variety. Okay? That's the sad reality in which we live in. Infidelity, disloyalty has penetrated the best of homes and paralyzed the greatest of relations. Part of the negative spin of social media and network, this is what has happened. So, Yahya ibn Yahya says, I was sitting by Sufyan ibn Uyayna rahmatullah alayh. Yahya ibn Yahya says, I was sitting by Sufyan ibn Uyayna rahmatullah alayh. One thing I must mention, this is my personal, with the grace of Allah, I have spoken on marriage. I will lose count how many talks I've given on marriage and how many unfortunate circumstances I had to be involved in counseling. There was a sister that once came to me and she was crying and she said to me, she said, Sheikh, I got married and I was divorced within 2 weeks and I was still receiving wedding gifts when I was in Iddah. And people were like, oh, sorry sister, I couldn't make it for your wedding, but I just brought you a gift. And I look at them and I say, do I tell this woman it's over or do I just accept the gift? And I went into a very severe depression in my life. And then she put down some, emotions and she asked me to edit it and she just wanted some guidance and solace in her life. But here you have it. She says, I was receiving wedding gifts when I was already in Iddah. Back in the old days, the old people used to say, I lost my wife, alhamdulillah, we were wedded for 60 years. And I never wanted to change my old model for a new model. Today, if a young man can hold 2 years, you need to give him a bigger medal than the Olympics are giving. Like, wow, 2 years? You're an awesome man. You're great. You're really good. Why? Because there is just no level of patience. There is just no level of tolerance. And my eye is ever roaming and gazing. There's something better, there's something better. So I always say, and you can identify with my thoughts or you can differ and you're entitled to do so. If a person comes home to a happy marriage, to an established relation, to an active family life, then that marriage has the capacity to boost him, energize him, and empower him sufficiently to go out in the world and face all the challenges of life. There might be a collapse in the economy, his business might not be so flourishing, his health might not be great. But if he comes home to a sound relation, to a happy marriage, then that will give him the strength, it will give him the feet, it will give him the muscle to go and face life. But reverse the scenario. You're a healthy man, you've got good children, you've got a booming economy, you've got a prosperous business. But hang on, when you come home, it's hell. So the gentleman came home early. So his wife is like, hey man, you're back early today? What happened? So he says, no, the boss had a bad day at work. And he told us, get out, go to hell. So I came home. The boss had a bad day at work, and he says, get all the hell of yous, man. Get to hell. So I came home. That's laughable, but wallah, for many, home is hell. For many people, home is hell. I know of people who prolong their hours in their work. They say, go home, Sheikh, I have amnesty here. This is security for me, man, you know. I'd rather minimize my hours in hell and extend it in paradise. I'm not working because I need to work. I'm working just because, oops. Yeah. You know, they say children, something goes in one ear and it comes out in the other ear. And adults, male or female, goes in here, goes in here. Some people have what they call verbal diarrhea. Some people, what they have? Verbal diarrhea. It just runs and runs. Hang on, we need to get our act together. What's these lavish spreads in our nikahs? That's the problem. That's the misery. Mahkam Islam. What will people say? What will society say? Do you know how harmful this mentality is? Do you know how detrimental this mentality is? That if I do this, log kya kahenge? Samaj kya kahegi? Parosi kya kahegi? Allah kya kahega, wo bhi to dekho. It's a very delicate topic, but I just want to impress upon you adequately the harms of becoming sensitive to the slurs and the comments of society. Right? We need to move on. We need to move out of that. I need to do what my Allah told me and what my deen has told me. People up and down, and it just carries on. Today they praise you, tomorrow they condemn you. I mean, look at the political landscape of the world. People who were condemned as bad people, right? I come from South Africa. The former President Nelson Mandela was once upon a time called the worst man. Today he's called the icon of liberation. Right? You can see people have been toppled, people are down, people are up. You know, I'm going to do what Allah has told me. That's what my mindset has to be. It's a very delicate topic, and we tread very cautiously. But I use this to expound on my theory. Don't look at society. Look at what Allah and His Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has told us. So why don't you have a simple marriage? You know, if I have a simple marriage, people will ask me, did the bride leave from your house or did the funeral leave from your house? SubhanAllah. I will not forget this youngster, may Allah reward him. I gave a talk in Canada and I spoke on the simplicity of marriage. And he was getting married in 2 weeks' time. And I was just casually talking. And after the talk he came and he sat me down and he started cheering. He said, Sheikh, may Allah bless you. I said, Ameen, what's the matter? He said, I was going to have this lavish big banquet and this big elaborate spread. And I had vowed to Allah in this gathering, I'm going to have a simple marriage. And then he brought his future father-in-law. They came to meet me at the airport and they thanked me. And he said, we saved thousands and tens of thousands of dollars. And alhamdulillah, we are the happiest couple. Afterwards, he told me to say that the marriage went off simple and basic. These are the teachings of Islam. Abu Talib, Nabi Sallallahu uncle, right? It pains us the most because he defended Nabi Sallallahu so much. Nabi Sallallahu 4 uncles seen Islam. 4 uncles seen Islam. 2 accepted Islam, 2 did not accept Islam. From the 2 that did not accept, 1 supported the cause and 1 vehemently opposed the cause. So who are the 4 uncles? These are basic Islamic history facts we need to know about our Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Abbas radiallahu anhu accepted, Hamza radiallahu anhu accepted. Who were the other 2 uncles? Abu Talib and Abu Lahab. Abu Lahab's actual name was Abdul Uzza. Abu Talib didn't accept, but supported, cushioned, protected, assisted, cooperated, gave Nabi Sallallahu all the resources. And then we have Abu Lahab, who vehemently opposed, who went empty. Abu Talib, Nabi Sallallahu had this great desire that Abu Talib must become a Muslim. For everyone he had it, but Abu Talib in particular, because of how much love he gave to Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said to him, "Oh my uncle, Chacha Jan, आप जरा मेरे कान में कलमा पढ़ लें, बकिया मैं अपने अल्लाह से मनवाऊंगा। आप तो बस कान में कलमा पढ़ लें, बस बकिया। Read the kalima in my ears and I will fight your case before my Lord." Remember what I'm talking? What will society say? What will this one say? What did Abu Talib say? And we have to tread very cautiously the ulama say, because we don't say it in any way that we cause pain to Nabi Sallallahu heart. What did Abu Talib say? He said, وَلَقَدْ عَلِمْتُ بِأَنَّ دِينَ مُحَمَّدٍ مِنْ خَيْرِ أَدْيَانِ الْبَرِيَّةِ دِينًا. وَلَقَدْ عَلِمْتُ بِأَنَّ دِينَ مُحَمَّدٍ. This is in the footnotes of Jalalain. وَلَقَدْ عَلِمْتُ بِأَنَّ دِينَ مُحَمَّدٍ مِنْ خَيْرِ أَدْيَانِ الْبَرِيَّةِ دِينًا لولا الملامة لوجدتني سمحا بذلك مبينا. Oh my nephew, भतीजा, मनवाने की बात नहीं है, मैं कब से मान चुका। इसलिए कहते हैं इस्लाम जानने का नाम नहीं है, मानने का नाम है। Oh my nephew, you don't have to impress me on the truth of your religion. I know with certainty your religion is the truth. But I'm afraid what will society say. मुझे बस इसकी फिक्र है, लोग क्या कहेंगे, लोग क्या कहेंगे। जैसे दुनिया में हर किस्म के बुत होते हैं, ये भी एक बुत है। लोग क्या कहेंगे, लोग क्या कहेंगे, लोग क्या कहेंगे, फलां क्या कहेगा, मेरी इज्जत क्या रहेगी। What will people say? You don't have to give me theory, explanation, do this. No, I know the truth. I'm only worried about society's comments. If it wasn't society's comments, I would have embraced your faith before anybody else. But I'm afraid I'm going to rigidly die on the practices of my ancestors. मैं तो अपने बाप दादा के रस्म और तरीक ही पे मरूंगा। इसको सोचकर बदन के रोंगटे खड़े हो जाते हैं। You know, you get a shiver in a shudder in your body. It's like your body starts trembling. Imagine our Habib sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What must have crossed his blessed heart? And Allah revealed the verse, إِنَّكَ لَا تَهْدِي مَنْ أَحْبَبْتَ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ يَهْدِي مَنْ يَشَاءُ. إنك لا تهدي من أحببت ولكن الله يهدي من يشاء وهو أعلم بالمهتدين. Oh Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, it's not within your jurisdiction, it's not within your act to convince whoever you want. This remains the prerogative of Allah. This remains the choice of Allah. But the point that I want to deduce from this here, and I'm on track with my topic, is that the concerns of the society, it can take a person to such an extent that it becomes an impediment, it becomes an obstacle, it becomes a hurdle in embracing the truth after you convince in theory. Understand this is not light. I need to do what is right. I need to do what Allah has meant. Leave the world. They're not coming with me in my grave. لَإِنْ كَانَ ذَنْبِي حُبَّ آلِ مُحَمَّدٍ فَذَلِكَ ذَنْبٌ لَسْتُ عَنْهُ أَتُوبُ. لئن كان ذنبي حب آل محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم فذلك ذنب لست عنه أتوب. هم شفعائي يوم حشري وموقفي إذا ما بدت للناظرين خطوب. يقول الشافعي رحمه الله, Imam Shafi says, I love my Nabi صلى الله عليه وسلم. And you saying that's a crime. It's a crime for me to do what he said. Well then I'm telling you, I'm going to pride myself with that crime. Crime in inverted commas. This is not a crime. I love what my Nabi told me, and you telling me it's an offense. It's a crime to do what your Prophet ﷺ did, but then I love it. And I'm not violating any human's any right. Why? Why am I going to do it? Because when I die, my Nabi is going to help me on the day of Qiyamah. You're not going to help me. You're not going to help me. Okay, I appeased you and I had a big banquet and I had a big spread and I called all these wealthy people and I had this lavish spread. Fair enough, I impressed you. And then tomorrow in Qiyamah, will you come and argue my case? No, you're not going to argue my case, but my Nabi will. So I will live with the teachings of my Nabi and I will practice that. Because that will rescue me. I will appease society only to shun me. They will shun me in this world. So anyway, I was saying that if you come home to a happy marriage, then it will give you strength, it will give you a footing to be empowered in the world. We are living in the world, the modern world today. What are the new demographics of the world? Single parents. Hello. I read an article that if you want to have a workshop in raising kids today, it would be in your interest to target grandparents more than the parents themselves, because the grandparents are not the caregivers of the grandchildren. The dynamics of the world and the demographics have changed. But if you want to host a workshop, बच्चों की तरबियत के ऊपर वर्कशॉप, तो दादा दादी को बुलाओ, नाना नानी को बुलाओ. आजकल वो बच्चे को संभाल रहे हैं. Parents have moved on. This one this way, that one that way, and the elder folks got a bit more sympathy and concern. So, that's how the world has moved on. So anyway, Yahya says, I was sitting by Sufyan ibn Uyayna, just then one person came, and he said to Sufyan ibn Uyayna, I'm having grief at home. I'm having serious problems with my wife. Really, major problems. أنا أذل الأشياء عندها. My wife doesn't treat me like a human being. Now look at the foresight of the pious. فأطرق سفيان منيا. He dropped his head down. We're waiting for the answer. You're going to say, oh, no brother, you know what? You're not the only one. We all have that. No. He didn't say that. He said, لَعَلَّكَ رَغِبْتَ إِلَيْهَا لِتَزْدَادَ عِزًّا. I think, why you're so disgraced? Because the whole motivation of your marriage was wrong. You thought you'll get married, and because your wife came from a prominent family, from a high social standing, from a top, tribe or a great background, so by getting married, it would push my rating up. He said, yes. He said, well, that's why exactly Allah has subjected you to disgrace. Then he said, I will tell you my personal example. He said, we are three brothers. فَمُحَمَّدٌ أَكْبَرُنَا وَعِمْرَانٌ أَصْغَرُنَا وَأَنَا أَوْسَطُهُم. Sufyan ibn Uyayna, he said, my brother Muhammad, when he decided to get married, رَغِبَ فِي الْحَسَبِ. He looked at social standing. From which tribe, from which family, from which lineage, from which ancestry, high profile, whatever it is. So I want to get married into that family and push my social standing up. That was the thinking behind, the subtle. When he got married, the first thing that happened, Allah disgraced him. My young brother, he went for money. He said, no, let me get married where there's money, there's wealth. Everything is done for me, found for me, no issues. So he went into wealth and fame and prominence. The first thing that happened, Allah took all his wealth away and he is the poorest. So I said, no, I better think properly and I better be calculated and measure what I want to do in my life. I looked at my elders, I looked at my youngers, I better tread cautiously, right? And a lot of youngsters say to me, no, I don't want to get married. That marriage broke up and that one broke up. I said, my brother, you can't fight the system. You never heard of anyone saying, I don't want to board a flight because one plane crashed. Right? How many planes crash? But hang on, that's life, aviation, right? It's tragic. We wish the best, we pray for the best, we hope for the best. But you will hear of a plane crash while you're boarding the flight and you'll still board the flight. Right? You read in the papers then, oh, that's life, well, tragic. I mean, what happened, the flag fall, blah, blah, blah. But you move on, life has to carry on. So shying away from the reality is not going to happen. That's not going to happen. Look at the levels of depression in people that are living lonely lives. Right? That is not the way you're going to win things. Life is a challenge by itself. What cannot be cured must be endured. There is no perfect partner. One of the best sayings I have read in my life. One of the best sayings I have read in my life. They say, the formula and the recipe to a happy marriage is not in wedding the perfect partner. The formula and the recipe, are you following what I'm saying? The formula and the recipe to a happy marriage is not in wedding the perfect partner, but rather in loving the imperfect partner perfectly well. Wow. Wow. That's deep. That's profound. That's rich. You know, it's like they say there's only one perfect woman, and every neighbor has her. There's only one perfect woman. वो पड़ोसी की बीवी वो बड़ी अजीब है यार. हाँ वो तो उसकी बहू यार पता नहीं मेरी बहू को क्या हो गया यार. You understand? There's only one perfect wife and she has. Every neighbor has her. Hang on. So the gentleman phones the reception desk from the hotel. And he's like, sir, can I speak to management, please? Yeah, it's management. Myself and my wife had an altercation here, and she wants to hop out of the window. Sorry, sir. That's a personal matter. It's got nothing to do with the hotel. No, the window doesn't want to open, man. It's a management problem. So today, while I am out for a honeymoon in a best hotel, I'm having problems. So what did Sufyan ibn Uyayna say? He said, then I decided and I thought of the hadith of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, تُنْكَحُ الْمَرْأَةُ لِأَرْبَعٍ. Generally, a woman is married for one of four things. لِمَالِهَا, some go for her wealth. لِدِينِهَا, some go for her piety. لِحَسَبِهَا, some go for her lineage, her social standing. And لِجَمَالِهَا, some go for her beauty. I read a beautiful saying. They say all these Hollywood stars, they twinkle as long as they don't wrinkle. They twinkle as long as they don't wrinkle. Once they wrinkle, those twinkles are gone. It's gone, finish. So today this charm, this beauty, this charisma, this elegance, this pride, but hang on. You go to age, she's got to age, the season has to move, green has to become yellow, white has to become dull, it has to wither. So think long term. The wrinkles has to come in. The twinkle won't remain forever. The twinkle has a short life, my brother. The twinkle has a bedroom life. In the kitchen, twinkle don't work. You need action. You know, you need more than that. You need more than that. فاظفر بذات الدين فاظفر بذات الدين تربت يداك. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, be smart, be wise, capitalize on piety. Look at piety. تربت يداك is woe be to you. In other words, don't be foolish. We're not saying ignore beauty. Ideally, if you have that, by all means, that's great, that's awesome. But the key factor has to be piety. Both in the husband, look at piety within him, stability and piety. And the husband, look at the woman in piety and stability. If that is there, then hopefully this ship will sail and this marriage will continue. Now let's just look at 1-2 examples. In the time of Sahaba, how simple a marriage was, right? Today it's this. Remember this here. When nikah was simple, zina was difficult. Today we have made nikah difficult, zina has become simple. जब निकाह आसान होगा, जिना मुश्किल होगा. लेकिन जब हमने निकाह को मुश्किल कर दिया, जिना आसान हो गया. I can just go around the corner and do what I want to and be back and nobody knows. But do I know what I've done with my Allah? And do I know what I've done with my Iman? You know, a man in an illicit relation and in haram and zina, he will come home, the first thing that will happen, Allah will deprive him of the beauty of his wife. She could be the most beautiful woman, he will look at her and he'll have no feeling. He will look at her and he'll have no interest. He will look at her and hate her for a reason he knows not. He will be in seclusion with her and he'll be miserable. That will be the consequences of infidelity and disloyalty in your marriage. That's it. And we are living statistics of this here. When we've contracted, my wife, you are there for me and I am there for you. And together we walk this road. Together we walk this road. So Sulaiman radiallahu anhu, Abu Darda radiallahu anhu goes to propose at someone's house on behalf of Sulaiman radiallahu anhu. So he goes there, he tells Sulaiman, you wait outside, I'll go propose. Again, it's not this big, lavish, big doom, dom, and everybody come in here and wait for this one. It's like, no, they can't get married now. Why? We need to still paint the house. So if the house is painted, well, what does that do? You're not looking, they hook in, man. It's got nothing to do with them. We're waiting for a cook. Like we're delaying this marriage for things that are unrelated. Abu Darda radiallahu anhu goes to propose. He says, you know what, Sulaiman is a great man. Sulaiman minna ahlul bayt. Nabi Sallallahu said, Sulaiman is part of the household of Muhammad Sallallahu. He's a great man, he's a wonderful person. Subhanallah, he's like this, it's like this. So the people say, okay, mashallah, jazakallah. ولكن لا نزوج سلمان ونريد أن نزوجه. You know what? We're very happy with what you said, but we don't want to get our daughter married to Sulaiman, we want to get our daughter married to you. We're like, whoa. We might be wishing for that. You see, this husband and wife were sitting. Right? And then as they were having the light moments, so the husband asked his wife, यार अगर मेरा इंतकाल हो जाए आप दोबारा शादी करेंगे नहीं करेंगे क्या करेंगे नहीं जी क्या बात करते हो आप अल्लाह आपकी उम्र को दराज करे नहीं यार अभी तो न मरे आप हाँ अभी तो बच्चे जवान हैं so if I die what will you do will you get married so the wife said no I won't remarry I will go stay with my sister my sister is single I'll stay with my sister yeah I won't able to get married again क्या आपके बाद हिम्मत नहीं होगी शादी करने की यार अच्छा ठीक hope after a little while put the camera over the man wife is asking him and if I die मेरा इंतकाल हो जाए I die will you get married husband thinks no I also won't get married I'll also just go stay with your sister I also won't get married, I'll also just go stay with your sister. That's the world we're living in today. It's laughable, but do you know what? I had a case, and Allah puts a thought in my mind now, right? This is serious stuff. There's a couple living, and I know, married, everything. Remember, when you do something wrong, you can't run wrong. You know, in English they say, oh, what a weave we web. What a web we weave. What a web we weave. हम कैसी जाल बुन रहे हैं. What a web we weave when we practice to deceive. Oh, what a web we weave when we practice to deceive. So, how many of the men today are giving their woman money, not because they mean well, because they're trying to suppress the guilt within them. They know they're disloyal, they know they're shopping around, they know they're doing wrong, and the guilt is eating within them, it's biting them. So they come home, and they're just giving this money. لا تتقي من نباح الكلب إلا بكثرة خبز تلقي إليه. In Arabic they say, it's a proverb, sometimes the only way to appease a barking dog is to give it bread. कुत्ते जब भौंकता है ना बार बार तो वो रोटी देके खामोश कर देना अरबी का मुहावरा है لا تتقي من نباح الكلب إلا بكثرة خبز تلقي إليه. This couple is married, they're living, they have a child, 2 children, they're happy, whatever, all is fine. Tragically, the child gets diagnosed with some blood disorder. Right, at the age of 6. So they say that they're going to do a transfusion from the parents, and only the parents would have the common blood group and all the medical stories. So you're only able to do it from the parents every so many weeks. So fine, the mother is called in, they do a transfusion, they give blood, infuse blood into the child, give the child a bit of strength, everything. Next infusion, they call the father in. Next, the blood groups are not same. 6 years old. I know the story. I was told about it, and I was invited, to advise, etc. But this is unusual. Medically, we've never heard of this yet. The sickness of the child expose the disloyalty of the woman that had happened 6 years ago. Hang on, you're not the father of this child, so and so is the father of this child. This is the world in which we live in. 6 साल के बाद पता चला कि मैं बाप नहीं हूं इस बच्चे का, यार फिर आप महल में रहे या झोंपड़े में रहे, उस महल से क्या मिलेगा आपको? You could be living in a palace and 6 years you've been deceived and you thought this was your son and you called him your darling and you called him and then like, oh my wife, this is what you did to me. My word, what am I living in? And his medical condition exposed that, oh man, I'm not the dad, I'm not the father. What a world have we come into, my Allah. Maulana Abul Hasan Ali Nadwi Rahmatullah alayh, Allah fill his grave with noor, फरमाते थे, मुसलमान तू गिरते गिरते इतना गिर गया कि अल्लाह की कसम अब गिरने की जगह नहीं रही। मुसलमान तू गिरते गिरते इतना गिर गया कि अल्लाह की कसम अब गिरने की जगह नहीं रही। Oh Muslim, you have fallen so much, there's no more place to fall. I mean, can this ever happen in our history? Remember one thing. Restrictions of Islam is true freedom. In the restriction of Islam is true freedom. In the apparent freedom of others is destruction. So there is this apparent freedom, indulge, womanize, gamble, consume. Then you must deal with road rage, then you must deal with murder, then you must deal with suicide, then you must deal with a host of social evils. Islam's got these boundaries, and it's got these parameters, and it's got these restrictions, and you have to curb yourself, and you've got to curtail yourself, but in doing so, subhanallah, it gives rise to a wholesome community, it gives birth to a rich society, a society which has respect, which has values, which has principles in place. Sulaiman radiallahu anhu gets married to a woman in Kinda. Okay, let me complete that incident. Abu Darda radiallahu anhu, they get that girl married to Abu Darda. Abu Darda comes out, he tells Sulaiman, I'm embarrassed. What's it? I went there with your proposal, wallahi, but subhanallah, they liked me. They said I'm the better candidate. Did he get offended? Sulaiman radiallahu anhu said, forgive me, my brother, I was pursuing a proposal which Allah has decreed for you. Where were Sahabas thinking? Huh? Today I've heard of people asking me, you know, when you say that temperaments have become messed, that temperaments have become distorted. Like people ask this question, Sheikh, you know, I'm not like happy with my wife. In Jannah, well Allah put me, I want to be with that man's wife in Jannah. No man, are you serious, my brother? Have a break, man, have a Kit Kat. Please man, please man. Are you serious? Where have we gone? Like, I want to be with that man. No man. Like, go slow man. That's like, oh, this is a bit too much for me. Subhanallah, what has happened to the humankind? What has happened to the human race? I read an article once, I was flying from Amsterdam, picked up the paper, boarded the flight, and I read this here. I said, whoa, man, look at this here. So this guy wanted to give his wife an anniversary, her 35th anniversary, a surprise. So he went and he had her whole image tattooed onto his back, right? And that's a painful process, right? Costing a good few arms and legs, a few thousand euros or whatever it is. And he put it on and it's like, you know, I'm loyal to you, my darling. Oh, have a look. Yeah, I am for you. One day, does the whole thing, goes through everything. One day before her anniversary, she ditches him and she elopes with another man. Now it's painful to keep it and painful to take it out. To take it out is painful. To keep it is emotionally painful. I said, this is the world of today. The misery of a man. The article or the caption, it caught my eye. The misery of a man. The misery of a man? Oh man, gentlemen, oh, what you up to? Now he's got a tattoo. If he keeps it, it will haunt him. If he removes it, it's a painful procedure. This is where the world is. And I often cry. I want to buy something for my wife, which is great and wonderful, and I don't have to wait for 14 February to buy for her. And by the way, I don't know how does a teddy bear execute love. I always grapple with this, yeah. I mean, what's a teddy bear? No, I love you, so it's a bigger teddy bear. Okay. Good luck. Good luck. If that's how you define love, right? You know, this brother came to me and said, Sheikh, I want to get married to this girl, and my parents are not happy, but wallahi, I love her. I'm like, you love her before you married to her? The only place that I know love comes before marriage is the dictionary, because L comes before M. Love before marriage. वो तो dictionary में चुके L M से पहले आता है. Where's love before marriage? There's nothing like love before marriage. It's lust, my brother. So this youngster came and says, no, I'm dating. I want to court her. Like, why? No, I need to know her. I said, भाई मेरी तो 16 साल की शादी अभी तक मैं अपनी बीवी को नहीं पहचानता हूँ सही. आप एक हफ्ते में क्या सीखेंगे? He's like, no, I need to know her. I'm married like my 17th year running and I'm still learning my wife. And she's still learning me. My wife often tells me, because you know, sometimes you need to take up some of your CDs on nikah and you must listen yourself what you're telling people. But it's not correct. Because it's easy for me to tell you, but for me to live it at home. You know, one day we were traveling, and one of the radio stations were playing, the Islamic radio stations were playing my lectures. So she owns it, and she listens, and she says, oh, you have the art of thrilling people, eh? If I wasn't married, I could have fallen for you. Subhanallah. But living it, it's a different thing. Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, who spouses could bring into public domain the most intricate part of his married life. The most private area of his married life, his spouses brought it out because it gave guidance. Like today if a wife says, I'll tell, so I also know about you, right? Okay, so just back off there, right? Yeah, okay, right, yeah. So both hold one another on those threads. If you say, I know this, you know that. You know, the youngster came to his dad. He said, Dad, I bought my school report and I found yours also in the closet. He said, before you give me this whole picture of how good you were, I found your report. You know, here's it is. Anyway, these are all jokes, but they are meaningful things for us to draw from. So, we mentioned one, inshallah, we'll continue with the topic tomorrow because time is short. But I hope I'm making a message here. We spoke about simplicity. We spoke about forget the norms of society. We spoke about do what is right. Do what Allah has told us. Do what Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has told us. Nikah was simple. Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu, simple. Marriage was simple. And I have to work to make this marriage work. Like in everything else, there is an effort. Marriage doesn't equate happiness. It's like if somebody thinks enrollment is graduation. You know, when I was in California and I had spent a few Ramadans there, so this brother came to me, he says, baby Diana, my daughter, she's studying here in Berkeley University. और जो है ना, बड़े की बेटी अभी वहाँ पढ़ती है. अच्छा, माशाल्लाह, मैं क्या करूँ? I said, has she graduated? No. I said, but she could be a dropout there, man. She could be a fallout, and that's bigger embarrassment. How can you rejoice over enrollment? Enrollment means she has the potential to graduation. This is not the time to laugh. This is not the time to be happy. If I'm married, I'm happy. No. I've got to work at it. It's an effort. I have to be at it every single day. And how was Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam? Aisha radiallahu anha said he would come home. He wants to spend the night in Ibadah. Subhanallah. I cry. He wants to spend the night in Ibadah. But he never deprived me of closeness and seclusion. He would hop into the bed, he would sit with me, he would talk with me, and then when he would perceive that I had fallen off to sleep, then gently he would excuse himself that it was him and his Allah and the night. Look at that. Huh? And I'm like chilling with my friends. And I deny my wife that. And really I say to my wife, and I try, the real time we could have, days are busy, days are long, there's kids, is the night time when you hop into bed, you catch up with the events of the day. because she had her day, I had my day, we all have. And tonight, if we get together in bed, and even if we can spend 20 minutes of quality time resolving the arguments of the day. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, "Ala ukhbirukum birijalikum min ahli al-Jannah." Should I not tell you of the men that will go to Jannah? Sahaba said, "Tell us." النبي في الجنة, a prophet will be in Jannah. والشهيد في الجنة, a martyr will be in Jannah. والرجل يزور أخاه في ناحية المصر لا يزوره إلا لله في الجنة. The Jamaat that comes to my house, knocks my door, a brother who goes from one house to the other house to meet someone only for the pleasure of Allah, he is in Jannah. ألا أخبركم بنسائكم من أهل الجنة. Should I not tell you about the woman folk in Jannah? Tell us, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Al-Wadud, Al-Wadud. A woman who gives off tremendous love to her husband. إذا غضبت أو أسيء إليها قالت لا أفتحل بغمض حتى ترضى. If something unpleasant happens in the marriage, she comes to her husband and she says, "Oh my beloved, oh my darling, give me your hand, I want to shake your hand. I won't able to sleep if you are angry." Today, if you don't talk, you sleep better. वो मजे की नींद उस वक्त आती है जब वो इधर सोता है, वो इधर सोती है. They catch up. In English they say, to apologize to someone doesn't necessarily mean that you are wrong and the opposite party is correct. It simply means you value the relation more than your ego. My wife, I apologize. An apology doesn't equate guilt. It just means I need the relation more than our bickering. I don't have to win. The object of an argument is not to win, to progress. We need to progress. We don't need to stagnate. I'm right and you right. No. We need to move on. لا أكتحل بغمض حتى ترضى. I will not be able to sleep. Abdullah ibn Rawaha radiallahu anhu's head is in the lap of his wife. Subhanallah. So beautiful. In your bedroom, this is the time. But now we don't want to do it in bedroom. When we fly in a plane, some people think this is a private bedroom. Please, go in your bedroom. And we need to do this image in front of everyone. And I often say, you see this beautiful billboards, husband and wife, stroller, baby, smiling, walking in the mall. Oh, that's an ideal couple. The only time they're smiling is when they took this advert. They don't smile. Because if Allah is not in your life, there will never be smiles. So anyway, the thing is, touch the relation. Resolve the relation and move forward. Simple, basic things, but in the aim of going forward. By me apologizing, I haven't lost anything. I have mended the relation. In English they say, some people bring happiness wherever they go, and others whenever they go. Some people bring happiness wherever they go. बाज़ लोग खुशियाँ लाती है जहाँ पे भी वो जाते हैं और दूसरे जब भी वो जाते हैं. Now I got to ask myself, do I bring happiness to my home whenever I come or whenever I leave? Am I that husband? Am I that father? Am I that man that's bringing warmness in my house, that is bringing muhabbat in my home, that is bringing understanding in my home? What did Aisha radiallahu anha say? When she was asked, when Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam walked in the house, what was the first thing? Bada abis siwak. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's blessed teeth were the cleanest that any human could have. But he was so particular about oral hygiene, that when he walked in, he started with his miswak. Now, may Allah give me the tawfiq. If I've got a smoking habit, am I not subjecting my wife to something unpleasant? Am I not making it awkward? A moment of intimacy that's supposed to generate affection is so unpleasant because of the odor from my mouth, because of the bad smell, because of the evil habits that I have. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's blessed teeth were the cleanest, the whitest, the brightest, whatever you can think of. إِذَا دَخَلَ بَدَأَ بِالسِّوَاكِ. When he entered the house, he commenced with miswak. So, in conclusion, what I'm saying is, that we need to work towards making these marriages, prosper. It needs commitment, it needs vision, it needs from both sides, husband and wife. The wife puts her part, the husband puts his part, and together this marriage has to work. This woman was like browsing through the marriage certificate, looking. So the husband came and said, "My darling, what's it?" She said, "I'm trying to find an expiry date here." It will expire name. No. That's muhabba. Amr ibn As radiyallahu anhu. Amr ibn al-As. As ibn Wa'il. Abu al-As ibn Rabi radiyallahu anhu. That's the correct name. Abu al-As ibn Rabi. He was the eldest son-in-law of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. I'll end with this incident. He was the eldest son-in-law of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He was married to Zainab radiyallahu anhu. When Islam came, Zainab radiyallahu anhu became a Muslim. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, son-in-law did not accept Islam at that time. He had reservation. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam gave him his space, and at that time it was, the intermarriages was permissible still. So the people came to him and they put pressure on him. And they said, "Talliq sahibaka. Listen, we're going to shun you from society. You married to this woman. If you married to her, you are no more part of us. You divorce her. He wasn't a Muslim at that time. But the bond of the marriage, he said, "Ma uhibbu anna li biha imra'atan min Quraysh, wa innaka ta'lam an la taqata li bi an ufariqaha." I will never ever divorce my wife. And I never ever entertain the idea of replacing my wife with any other woman. And thereafter he accepted Islam, and Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam praised him for this. He said, "Haddathani wa sadaqani wa wa'adani wa wafa bi." The son-in-law has been amazing. He's taken my daughter and he made the promises and he lived up to the commitment of preserving the respect and the dignity of my daughter. May Allah reward him, bless him and preserve him. That he's taken her and he's honored the contract. I have taken someone's daughter in my nikah and I have taken someone's amana. Have I welcomed her? Have I given her the honor? Have I given her the greatness? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put muhabba in our understanding. May Allah put unity in our relations. I will continue with this topic tomorrow inshallah, and I hope and I pray that whatever I said will effect changes, will salvage marriages, will bring simplicity home, will take away the dating and the courting, because it's a vicious circle. You cannot win by just obeying Allah. There's no win-win situation, and only by obeying Allah is a win-win situation. Allah grant us to understand.